Welcome to our two-part webinar today on the role of clerks of county legislative boards and NYSAC programs and services. I'm Jeanette Stanziano, Director of Education and Training for your New York State Association of Counties. On behalf of the Honorable Martha Sauerbrei, NYSAC President, and Stephen J. Aquario, Executive Director, and the NYSAC Board of Directors, I want to welcome you to county government and congratulate you on your election or appointment. NYSAC's mission is to represent, educate, advocate for, and serve New York's counties and the thousands of elected and appointed county officials who serve the public. You'll be meeting a number of people today, including our first speaker, Mike Billard from Oneida County, and then a number of NYSAC staff. Please note that there are a number of staff that you won't get a chance to meet today, but there are 13 of us, and you can see on the slides that a handful will be on this program today, and the others you can find more about on NYSAC's website. Please note that if you are newly elected from the November 2021 elections, NYSAC has provided a special invitation for you to attend the NYSAC Legislative Conference, free of charges of registration. If you'd like to attend the conference in Albany at the Crown Plaza Desmond, please call Juanita Munguia to register. You can reach Juanita at 518-465-1473, extension 201, or you can email at her at jmunguia@nysac.org. This information can be found on our website under education, and it can also be found on one of the handouts that we'll be providing you today. You must be pre-registered in advance to attend, and everyone should feel free to refer to their dashboard. And there are two sections on your dashboard that are important to you today as participants. One is the questions tab. If you have any questions during the presentation, please submit them in writing by clicking on the questions tab. You can submit them anytime during the program, and we will get to them at the end of both presentations. The other tab that's important for you as attendees is the handouts tag. If you go to that tab, you will see 5 different documents that we are sharing with you today. One is the County Voice, which is a primer for new county officials. One is NYSAC's Legislative Conference Program to get more information about the March Legislative Conference, where you'll also find information on who to contact as a newly elected. There is also a form for our certification program, the County Government Institute, as well as NYSAC's Legislative Priorities document. So all of these will be covered today. This is the final training of our 5-part orientation for newly elected and appointed officials. Please visit the NYSAC website at nysac.org/webinars for details on other upcoming webinar programs. We hope that you find today's training thorough and insightful as you begin your commitment to county government. This program is being recorded and will be posted to the NYSAC website at nysac.org with a recording and a PDF of the slides anytime after 1 o'clock today. I'd now like to introduce our first half of the program and our first speaker. Mike Billard is the clerk of the Board of Legislators for Oneida County and is the president of the New York Association of Clerks of County Legislative Boards. Michael Billard, pronounced Michael, has served on Oneida County government for over 20 years and has served as clerk of the Oneida County Legislature since 2010. During his tenure of clerk, Billard has worked closely with the board to modernize the legislative chambers, streamline the legislative process, and improve efficiencies. In January of 2021, Billard assumed the role of president of the New York State Association of Clerks of County Legislative Boards. Billard was born in Bennington, Vermont. He graduated salutatorian of the class of 1996 at Remsen Central School. He holds a Bachelor's of Arts in Political Science from the University of Massachusetts, where he graduated cum laude. Following his years of undergraduate study, Billard attended the Maxwell School at Syracuse University, where he received his master's in public administration. Mike, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to present today. Yes, my name is Mike, and I am the clerk of the board for Oneida County. I have been that clerk since 2010 and have thoroughly enjoyed it. So I'm here today to kind of tell you a little bit about what our association does and what the role of the clerk is, which many of you will deal with. First of all, the New York State Association of Clerks of County Legislative Boards, yes, very long. We are here to promote a standard of excellence in the services offered for the clerks of legislative boards of the state of New York. We're here to assist new and all clerks in the execution of their duties and responsibilities. We work with clerks across the state for in the interest in the sound county government by providing information. 1 second. Oh, where'd I go? By providing information on current issues, forthcoming legislation, new programs, or other matters with which they should be concerned. We offer a means for clerks and their staff to meet and discuss common interests and observations, and we give a stronger voice to concerns and recommendations of clerks in performance of their duties. So what does that all mean? What the association does is we are a very strong group of clerks. We have a listserv that NYSAC so graciously provides, which I understand is probably the most used listserv that NYSAC offers. We are very active on that. Any clerk, as long as you are a dues-paying member county, has access to that, which is pretty much everybody. What basically, just say if there's a question, they email that question, and one of the clerks may answer it. Someone from NYSAC may chime in. It's a great resource. We hold conferences, which many attend, and in there's many speakers from the state. We have other speakers throughout the event, and it's a great learning tool. The Office of Clerk is an essential and strategic position which includes planning, programming, communication, delegation, coordination, scheduling, research, and advertising. Yes, we play many roles. It is a very important position, especially to the legislature, in that they assist in the agenda for the board, coordinating meetings, coordinating schedules for various legislators, performing research, and probably one of the most important things is advertising for public hearings, for meetings, so that those meetings and public hearings go forward without any issues. Okay, next. The position of clerk. The position of clerk of the legislature is one of the most complex and responsible positions in the county organization. Its primary goal is to assist the county legislative body in carrying out all of its basic programs. It is one of the few positions in state government that is actually codified in state law and has certain requirements for it, similar to the district attorney, the county clerk, the sheriff. Every county has a clerk of the board. The clerk is the right hand to the chairperson and the chief assistant to committee chairpersons. And the clerk shares the responsibility for supplying specialized knowledge to a group that can devote only part of its time to county business. Yes, many boards are usually part-time. Very few have full-time legislative representatives. That clerk is there to provide you any and all information that you may need in order to perform your duties. The next. The clerk serves as a liaison with county departments and outside agencies, as well as federal, state, and local governments. They have to. Every department that a county has, whether you're a county executive-based county, you're a county manager-based, or a county supervisors-based, you deal as clerk with every department in the county, every outside agency that needs to do business with that county usually is either coming to you or the county attorney, and most likely to the clerk of the board. The clerk and staff streamline the multitude of procedures that elected and appointed officials must follow, and your clerk will guide you through your meetings and will prompt you on issues of policy, procedure, and law. Next. The clerk's reason for being is to give assistance to the members of the board in any way that they may require. The clerk must be their resource for reliable information, someone they can trust and believe and speaks with the interests in mind. The clerk may become their research arm, their troubleshooter, and the individual they depend upon to help solve their problems, to supply them with needed information, to keep them abreast of changes in law, and to be aware of what comparable jurisdictions are doing. To that point, that's where the listserv comes in very handy. If your clerk is not using that listserv, you need to ask them why. It is a valuable tool that you can ask any question. A legislator may say, hey, I want to know how much the treasurer in other counties make. That's just an example, but it's a very useful tool, and that's what the clerk is there for. Next. Tradition has made the duties of the clerk very different in counties. In the county with an elected chief executive, the board's function may primarily be legislative, where the governing board has a responsibility for central administrative oversight. In addition to legislative authority, the position of the clerk assumes a very different character. Yes, that is very true. The duties that I have are much different than, say, the duties that the Schuyler County Clerk of the Board may have, or the Erie County Clerk of the Board may have. Each board clerk is designated certain functions by state law. Some of those functions, depending on the structure of the county, may be assigned to other departments within that county. And the job is much more than a clerical one. The title is one of distinction and is well rooted in tradition, having been recognized for extreme importance in the early development of the governing system. Like I said, every county has a clerk of the legislature. Not every county has a purchasing director, let's say. They may call it something different. The clerk is responsible for notifying board members of all meetings and is required by law to keep records of the board's actions. The clerk serves as a custodian of all records, insurance policies, and other documents, and performs procedural steps required for the enactment of local laws. Yes, the board clerk must keep all records of the board. They must know the state retention requirements and what counts as a historical record. In fact, some records you may come upon from the early 1800s, 1700s. You need to know what to do with those. Many of the clerk's duties have been assigned by custom and usage. Others are clearly defined by law. That is very true. What I did 10 years ago is much different. Due just to the changing times, especially with COVID and the usage of remote meetings. Things have very definitely changed, and it will change over time. And the state legislature, and many times, changes the rules and regulations as far as how meetings are conducted. So the clerk needs to be on top of that. And one of the ways they can do that is be active in our association. And our association does maintain a manual to assist the clerks in keeping track and performing their duties. Next. Because there is often a change in board membership, the clerk has the responsibility of giving continuity to the work of the board and keeping the board informed of the work of prior years. Yes, many times the members change every 2 years, every 4 years. Leadership of the board often changes. So they need to be an individual who can transfer to different types of individuals and personalities. The clerk will often be part of the orientation process for newly elected and appointed officials. Hopefully every clerk is doing that for newly members. We definitely encourage that of our association membership, and we are there to assist. And I know NYSAC many times has created various orientations for newly and appointed elected officials beyond what they're doing today. Learning the ropes and comprehending the legislative process can be a challenge for newly elected legislators and other elected appointed officials, and the clerk is there to assist in that process. Next. An orientation packet should be made available for all newly elected and appointed officials. If it's not, just ask your clerk if they can assist you in that. That's what they're there for, and most of them are already probably doing that. Templates should be created and in place to make the legislative office and other departments run more efficiently. And the association promotes the sharing and development of tricks, tips, and best practices. Next. So no matter what level of government you are in, whether it be county, town, village, or city, The clerk plays a very similar role as chief assistant in each. They are there to run your day-to-day operations and keep the engine running smoothly. Next. Okay, I want to thank everybody for allowing me the time to do this. If you have any questions at the end, I'd be very willing to answer.
Thank you so much, Mike, for that presentation. And now I'd like to go on to the next portion, but I want to remind everybody, if you have any questions for anyone for the Q&A, please look to your dashboard, click on the questions tab, and type in your questions at any time. I'll be presenting the first section, which is a section covering NYSAC's programs and services. We're going to discuss NYSAC's programs and services through different departments of the association to give you a thorough overview of what we do day to day and what we can do for you if you are searching for resources and information. Again, my name is Jeanette Stanziano, and I am the Director of Education and Training. My background, after working for several years in New York City for the Bank Street School of Education and the NYU Work Program for the Disabled, I moved to Albany and joined the staff of NYSAC in 1988, gasp. After taking a rather long lunch in 1995 to have my children, I returned to NYSAC in 2003, where I was hired by NYSAC's Executive Director, Stephen Aquario. My current duties include educational events focused on NYSAC's legislative conferences, fall seminars, county finance school, monthly webinars and trainings, and special projects. I am an alum of the Hobart and William Smith Colleges, where I earned my Bachelor of Arts degree in Fine Arts and Education. I'd like to talk to you today about what we do in terms of education and training and give you a 12-month brief overview of what we do in a year. NYSAC's mission is to represent, educate, advocate for, and serve New York's counties. Why am I going over that? Because education is an important pillar of what we do. Almost as important as legislation, it's just a different aspect of representation and learning. We do a number of programs throughout the year. We have annual statewide conferences, some of which stay in the same region every year and some that move around. Large and small events in terms of conferences, but they're all statewide. We offer weekly and monthly webinars, trainings that pop up on issues of immediacy, and we offer a number of podcasts throughout the year through our communications division. There's also the NYSAC News Magazine, which features important topics that impact counties. We have an online newsletters, various. We do blast emails on various topics, regional one-day topics, special topic meetings, affiliate conferences and meetings, inter-county presentations, legislative written reports and white papers, press releases, and many, many, many more ways of distributing different forms of education. The annual statewide conferences feature a legislative conference, fall seminar, and county finance school. These are our statewide conferences. They happen, legislative conference is what we're gearing up for right now. It's happening in mid-March. It's always held here in Albany because it's being held during the New York State legislative session. It features approximately between 21 and 28 different topics of workshops and an AM and a PM plenary session with valued keynote speakers. The legislative conference draws probably the most attendees of any program that we do throughout the year. Sometimes we can get over 800 people. It's a very popular program in that the legislative session is definitely an important connection because people not only come to the conference, but afterwards they may go and visit their state representatives. The fall seminar is a program that happens in mid to late September. We move this program around the state to give all of our members an opportunity to be featured at a conference as a host county. It offers, again, about 21 workshops. It's a very similar layout to the legislative conference, One of the differences about the fall seminar is that at this program, we induct our new president annually and any changes to the board. This usually draws between 600 and 700 people. And it's another key event to do lots of networking on both of these conferences. We have a full exhibit hall, which features products and resources for county procurement, and definitely a resource for continuing education. Our third and final statewide conference that we hold throughout the year is a real niche conference. It's the County Finance School, which we offer in partnership with the Office of the State Comptroller. And this program offers CPE accredited workshops. Every year, a number of finance officials, especially auditors, have to be a part of a certain number of credits of continuing education. This last conference, we offered 19 CPEs, which is the threshold that they need annually. So this is a program that's very specific for finance officials. Although anyone can come, the programs are based on upper level finance training. We draw about 200 attendees because remember, for counties, there's usually only one budget director, maybe a couple of auditors, but this is a very finite group of people. We've been offering this program for, I think, almost 60 years. And the legislative and fall seminar has been offered since our inception. So many, many, many years beyond the finance school. This is a typical conference we just had in Syracuse. This is a key session, shows you the scope of what we do. Obviously, these conferences feature a lot of communication, a lot of keynotes, sometimes people phoning in who are experts who otherwise wouldn't be able to work with us, but might work with us online. As I said, at the fall seminar, we swear in our new president. We have affiliate and committee meetings, as you can see on the upper right, and then a number of keynote sessions on the bottom right. What else do we do? Well, we offer a number of webinars on a weekly and monthly basis. You can find a complete list of our upcoming and archived webinars at NYSAC.org/webinars. But this is a list of topics that we just offered in 2021. It can show you the scope of what we cover, the topics as they emerge, and what a typical training year looks like just online. These are all free webinars to our members. We also offer the NYSAC County Government Institute certification program. As the preeminent certification and education program for New York State's county officials, the NYSAC County Government Institute upholds the pillars of good government. Most importantly, leadership, integrity, and accountability. We ask our participants to complete a rigorous slate of coursework that covers many of the key essential tools for county government and good government. We offer these throughout the year at our conferences and via webinars. And in a very short time, even as short as a year, you can earn your certificate for the County Government Institute, which has been co-sponsored by Cornell since we first began. To find out more about this, please feel free to download under your handout section a copy of the registration form. When people are done, they graduate publicly at our conference at any key events. This was a recent graduate from September. So how can you keep informed about NYSAC's educational events and basically everything else that's covered in this portion of today's webinar? Well, your email is absolutely the center of what we need. If you want to be informed, just please provide your email address to us, and then you will be kept fully informed about programs and services throughout the year. The way to do this is just simply contact our records manager, Jackie Dietrich. Jackie can be reached at the NYSAC office at any time or through her email, jdederick@nysac.org. If you download the CGI or the legislative conference flyer, you can also find information on how to reach people at the office. But if we don't have your email, you will miss 99% of what NYSAC puts out. So please, especially newly electeds, please provide your email address and we will make sure that you keep informed throughout the year. There are two people who work on the NYSAC education and training team, myself and Juanita Munguia, who is our marketing specialist. Juanita works with all registration materials, marketing, advertising, and she works with all of our private sponsors of all of our programs, which wouldn't happen without them. She plays a very key role in education and training. And I wanted to make you aware of Juanita. So we're the team that works on that. And now I'd like to move on to our next speaker. Our next presenter is Tom Oldfather, who serves as NYSAC's communications manager. Prior to joining the association, Tom worked for the New York.gov digital team as an interaction designer and strategist. Part of his duties included managing the New York.gov social media accounts, as well as social media accounts for state initiatives like Taste New York. Prior to his work with the digital team, Tom worked for both the New York State Assembly and the New York State Executive Chamber as a communications coordinator. A native Kansan, Tom received his Bachelor of Science in Political Science from Kansas State University. Welcome, Tom.
Thanks, Jeanette. And thanks everybody for taking part in this incredibly informative training and for giving me the opportunity to plug the great work that we do here on the NYSAC communications team. So to start off, our goal is to provide you with the latest news and analysis that will help you do your job and also help the association advocate on your behalf. And to accomplish this, we have a few main tools that we use that I want to mention and encourage you to look for and engage with. Our website, blast emails, social media, the County Conversations podcasts, and the NYSAC News magazine. And I'll talk a little bit more about each one of those now. So we'll start off with the NYSAC.org website. This is the front door to our association. It's a great place to start to get information about our legislative advocacy, upcoming training opportunities, as well as some of the member benefits and partnerships that we have. Right now, we're in the middle of the legislative session in the heart of budget season. So as you can see here, this is a screen grab from the homepage. Right up top there, we've got a link to our legislative program. If you go to the advocacy section of the page, you can find information as it relates specifically to budget advocacy, which Ryan will talk about more here in a few minutes when he does his portion of the presentation. But it's a great place to get all the information that we produce as it relates to advocacy or training or all the stuff that we do at NYSAC. It all lives here, and so if you're interested in something, it's a great place to look first. Next. Then we have blast emails. These are really important. So we do every weekday, Monday through Friday, we send a news roundup called Counties in the News. We collect the county stories from every region of the state, as well as pertinent state and national news, and as well as some recent news from NYSAC. So it's on the right side of the screen there, a screen grab of that. It's a really unique news roundup that's tailored for county leaders, really valuable. And then we also have something called the County Perspective, and we send this once a week, usually Thursday or Friday, during the legislative session. And it's a weekly newsletter, and it provides a deeper dive, a deeper analysis on the most important topics from the week, including updates from Albany and Washington, D.C., as well as special reports, information on emerging issues, grants, training opportunities. Really great resource. So watch for that every Thursday or Friday during the legislative session, and occasionally, so that's January through June, and then occasionally in the other months in the off season, if important things are happening in the state, we'll send a county perspective. Next. So Jeanette touched on this a little bit a minute ago, but email is just a critical tool, our critical link to you, our members. It's one of the best ways that we have to share all these resources with you. So she mentioned reaching out directly to Jackie. That's a great way. We also have the spot on our website where you can input your information. But reaching out to Jackie, as Jeanette mentioned earlier, is the best way to make sure you're getting on our list, but this is just another option. Next. Social media. So we maintain a really robust social media presence. We're active on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And you can find us at all three of these by searching for @NYS Counties. Twitter is our flagship platform. That's where we engage with state lawmakers and the press and other advocacy organizations. It's sort of the first place to look for press releases and statements in response to breaking news or other information about upcoming events and initiatives. But we do share a lot of content across all three, so I highly encourage you to follow us and and follow all those accounts. Next. We also have a weekly podcast, and I'm incredibly proud to say that I think we're one of the only municipal associations that I'm aware of that does a weekly podcast. It's called County Conversations. It airs every Monday with almost every Monday is a new episode. Occasionally we'll rerun something if it's a really great episode, but every Monday we've got a new episode, wide range of content specific to county leaders. We have interviews with county leaders and department heads about issues, initiatives, interviews with representatives from other municipal advocacy organizations, as well as conversations with our expert staff about what we're up to here. We recently just published our 50th episode. We recently crossed the 3,000 download mark, so we're really proud of the work we do on the podcast. There's several ways to listen. The best way is to subscribe directly from your phone or your device. You can search for us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, or on the Podbean app. Just open those up, whichever one you've got. Search County Conversations, and you'll find us. You can also listen by going to our website at nysac.org/podcast. There you can find and stream all of our recent episodes. So I strongly encourage you to check it out. It's a really cool resource that we have here. And also, if you have ideas for topics you'd like to hear about, or if you would like to be a guest on the podcast, we'd be happy to work with you to find a time and a date that works to talk about an issue or initiative that's going on in your county, something that's important to you. So if you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, please reach out to Kate Pierce, our multimedia specialist and the leader of our podcast, and she'd be happy to work with you. Next and finally, we have the NYSAC News Magazine. This is published 3 times a year. We're currently working on our winter issue, which is the legislative guide, and that will be hitting mailboxes towards the end of the month, beginning of March. And this will go directly to your mailbox, but you can also find this upcoming issue once it's published and all our past issues by going to nysac.org/magazine. And then you can read through the older issues. And also keep an eye out for, in the spring, we'll send out an email for the call for articles. When we start working on our next edition, we send out an email to all our members that outlines what the theme will be for the magazine and sort of like what kind of stories we're looking for. So that'll be heading towards your inbox probably in the spring. So keep an eye out for the call for articles for magazines. We'd love to have a submission from you included in the magazine. So that is all from me. We do a lot here at NYSAC, but we're always seeking new ways to better serve our members. So if you have any ideas or anything that you would like to see us do that we're not doing, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, Oldfather at nysac.org. And there's Kate, who I mentioned earlier about podcasts. So thanks a lot for letting me share with you today.
Thank you, Tom. And thank you, comms. Communications has become one of the biggest emerging items in NYSAC staff work that has really, propelled us forward. And Tom and Kate are wonderkins with that. Now I'd like to introduce Ryan Gregoire, NYSAC's Legislative Director. Ryan has over a decade of public policy, local government management, and legislative advocacy experience, and he currently serves as the association's legislative director. In this position, Ryan is responsible for managing state and federal legislative advocacy on policy impacting county governments. Prior to working for NYSAC, Ryan worked for Schenectady County, most recently serving as the Assistant County Manager. In this capacity, Ryan worked with the county manager to manage county departments and administer policies set forth by the county legislature. Ryan has also worked in both chambers of the state legislature as well as the U.S. Senate and U.S. House of Representatives. Ryan has a master's degree in public administration from the Rockefeller College of Public Affairs and Policy, University at Albany, and a bachelor's degree in political science from SUNY Brockport. Ryan is also a brand new daddy. Ryan, the floor is yours.
Great, thank you, Jeanette, and thank you again for having me on today. Just an agenda real quick that I'm going to walk everyone through. I want to start real high level with the state legislative process, and we're going to go through that relatively quickly, but I did include some slides in the presentation for you so you can refer back to them at the conclusion of this webinar and just get a little more detail. And of course, to piggyback off of what both Jeanette and Tom have already stated, if you have any questions at all, I have a wide open door. You're more than welcome to contact me, and my contact information will be here. But after I go through the state legislative process, I want to touch on some county tools for effective advocacy, talk to you a little bit about this year's legislative program, what the budget advocacy is looking like. And right now, as Tom mentioned, we're in the middle of our budget advocacy season. And then also highlight our federal advocacy here on behalf of the counties of New York with our representatives in Washington. Next slide. Real quick through definitions of the state legislative process. Again, I'm not going to go over this in great detail, but this just gives you a sense of the different kinds of bills that can be introduced in Albany. And I should note that your association tracks over 2,500 bills, and there's currently over 12,000 bills that have been introduced in the state legislature. So there's a lot of different kinds of bills. There's a lot of different policy that's circulating around, and of course, these are just some key definitions to be aware of. Introducing legislation. So this can be done by a senator or an assembly member. It can also be done through a specific committee. Sometimes you'll see a bill be introduced by the Committee on Rules, which is a little funny, but the legislature does sometimes introduce policy by a committee, not by an individual member. It can be done through a message from the Assembly or by order of the Senate, which doesn't happen too often. And of course, the governor can introduce legislation on their behalf as well. Committee process. Bills they all receive a number, and they are sent to an appropriate committee for consideration. So they all start in a committee, they all have a bill number, and then from there they move to either the Ways and Means Committee or Rules Committee in the Assembly, or in the Finance Committee or Rules Committee in the Senate, before eventually making their way to the calendar for first reading, second reading, and third reading. Again, just real quick on the aging process, I touched base on this a second ago, but all of the bills, unless there is a message of necessity, they require a 3-day aging process. They have to make it to the third reading on the calendar before they can be considered either under consent or on the controversial calendar, which means that it'll be open for debate. And each chamber of the legislature has a little bit of a different rules process for the way that debate happens. Again, passing legislation, there's an active list in the Senate, and that is prepared by the Majority Leader, who is Andrea Stewart-Cousins in Westchester County. And only bills on order of the third reading can be considered unless, again, there's a message of necessity, or the Majority Leader does have the ability, if once it's reported from the Rules Committee, to send it direct to third reading, which at that point in time, the supplemental calendar can be brought up for consideration, and that bill can advance straight to either debate or on the non-controversial calendar. So you see this happen more often towards the end of session, and there's usually messages of necessity included for budget legislation. So keep an eye out for that. Of course, your association is monitoring all of that activity for you. How to track bills? Again, I want to emphasize NYSAC.org/advocacy. That is our one-stop shop to find all advocacy material, whether it be legislation or the legislative, process in general, or state budget advocacy. But you can also search and find direct links and information on bills on the Assembly website or on the Senate website. Okay, communicating with state lawmakers. I want to take a moment here just to highlight the importance of meeting with your state legislative delegation. Every county is represented by one or multiple assembly members and senators in the state legislature. There's 150 members of the state assembly, and there's 63 members of the state senate. Of course, today actually, lawmakers are going to be passing legislation that would change district lines, which will impact your representation in Albany starting in January of next year. But it's always key to remember the way to effectively communicate with state legislators. One thing to keep in mind is these individuals are bombarded with meetings from lobbyists, from interest groups, from constituents, and their staff is as well. I've worked in both houses, and I will tell you, on session days, their calendars are back-to-back 30-minute meetings from 9 a.m. until whenever the chamber adjourns for the day. So it's really critical to get your message through to them in an effective way. And that's by doing these three items that I've described below. Grabbing their attention by explaining the impact of an issue on yourself, on your community, why it matters to county government. Requesting a very specific component that can help achieve and find a solution to that problem. That's key, to make it real simple for them. Whether it's, okay, I need you to sign on to a specific piece of legislation, or perhaps we can work together to introduce a new bill, or, I need you to advocate with the state agency. It's important to make a request, and then of course, appreciate, which is thanking them for the meeting, thanking them for their support in helping to resolve the issue. Keeping informed of developments with NYSAC, and I know Tom just went over this, and Jeanette a little bit as well. And I do want to take a moment and just say that Jeanette went over the 4 pillars of our mission here at NYSAC. And whether or not you work in the legislative side of the house, or in education and training, or in communications, or Mark is going to talk about programs and services, they all interlap. And we all work on all 4 pillars. So I rely on Jeanette and Tom and Mark just as much as they rely on me to make our association effective for all of you. But these are the different types of information that comes out either on a weekly, daily, periodic basis. And of course, our legislative program and testimony serves as one of the key elements for engaging with state legislators. And from the legislative program, we have fact sheets and email blasts and memos in support and opposition on specific items of legislation. And those are the tools that we all collectively use to engage with state legislators. Just real quick on our current legislative program. On the right-hand side is a screenshot of what that looks like. And again, you can find that on NYSAC's website, /advocacy. But these are the 5 top priorities for the year. And this has been approved by the NYSAC Board of Directors. And this is what we're working off of as far as, top goals for the association. Ending the sales tax diversion for the AIM program, which I'm happy to announce the governor has included that fix in her budget, which is great news for counties. That if it were to continue, would amount to a $59.1 million diversion of your county sales tax. But again, the state is amending that, and they're going to be fixing it in this budget as long as it makes it into the enacted budget in the beginning of April. We are also asking state lawmakers to sunset the sales tax diversion for distressed health facilities. We still have some work on this, and you'll be hearing more from us here at NYSAC on what you can be doing to help engage with your state lawmakers to make sure that this sunsets. Making counties whole for federal enhanced Medicaid funds. This is these are federal dollars that counties are entitled to because we pay a portion of the Medicaid bill along with the state of New York. And there are federal pass-through dollars that have not been distributed to counties, and we're looking for those to be passed from the state down to the counties. Investing in local health departments. Again, this is another great win for counties in this budget. The governor is announcing, or has announced in her budget, an approximate $27 million increase in Article 6 aid, which directly benefits your county public health departments. So that is another big win for counties. And then there's another program that we're pushing for, which is reforming the treatment of individuals deemed incompetent to stand trial. Right now, counties pay 100% of those costs of these individuals who are deemed mentally incompetent to stand trial. And there's some legislation that we have helped draft and are working with Assembly Member Eileen Gunther in Sullivan County and Senator Sam Mabrouk from Monroe County to advance this year. Next. Okay, budget advocacy. Tom talked a little bit about this on our website, but again, I want to reiterate to everyone that the website really serves as a repository of all kinds of information that you may be looking for, including our state budget advocacy, which is timely right now because the state legislature and governor are moving towards an enacted budget that should be on time, which will be April 1st, 2022. The state fiscal year runs from April 1st to March 31st. But on our state budget advocacy page, you can find a copy of our scorecard, which these are the green thumbs and the red thumbs down. But those are very easy, digestible bullets that you can use. And that's one tool that you can use when you meet with your lawmakers. But we also have our interim executive budget county impact report, which I encourage you to take a look at as well for a little bit more of a deeper dive. And then to wrap it up, our federal advocacy. So we engage with the New York congressional delegation and the National Association of Counties to represent New York County interest in Washington, D.C. And of course, we are blessed to have the Senate Majority Leader from New York, Senator Chuck Schumer. And, this is a really important aspect of the pillar to represent and serve counties. So I encourage you, again, we have a federal advocacy landing page as well, but you can see here on the right some of the priorities that we will be working with Congress to try and get to the president's desk this year. And with that, Jeanette, again, here's my contact information, but thank you so much. I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you so much, Ryan, for that informative presentation. Just reminding everybody that the legislative priorities document that Ryan referenced can be found on your dashboard under handouts. So feel free to download that either from your dashboard or, as Ryan said, from our website. I'd now like to go to our final speaker of the day, Dr. Mark Levine. Mark has worked for NYSAC for over 17 years, and he serves as the Deputy Director of the New York State Association of Counties. Prior to his work at NYSAC, Mark worked at the University at Albany, the New York State Assembly, and has held a range of other positions over the past 20 years, including newspaper reporter, congressional aide, and campaign manager. Mark holds a PhD in communication at the University at Albany SUNY, and he earned his bachelor's degree in English literature from Lemoyne College in Syracuse, New York. He's also accredited in public relations, APR, by the Public Relations Society of America, and has been an adjunct professor in public relations and communications. I can tell you as a NYSAC staff member that Mark is the person in our office as Deputy Director that basically keeps all of the cogs turning. And he's the central person, the go-to person to basically keep our work moving forward. Mark, welcome.
Thank you, Jeanette. It would be helpful if I unmute myself here. Thank you, Jeanette. Appreciate the kind words. Thank you, Mike. We couldn't do the work that we do at NYSAC without our clerks of the boards and Mike and his colleagues from across the state who help us communicate and to educate and do the work that we do and carry that work out to county legislators, supervisors, and other folks at the county across the state. So thanks, Mike, thanks, Tom, and thanks, Ryan, and I am thankful for the whole team here at NYSAC. It's my pleasure today to bring up the rear of this 5-session newly elected training program that Jeanette has coordinated with a number of folks. If you haven't been able to get on all 5 webinars, they are recorded and available on our website, and we encourage you to go back and listen to and watch the ones that you were not able to attend. The 5 webinar program is intended to give you a baseline of information for you to be a strong county leader as you embark on the whatever function it is that you were elected to do beginning in January. So congratulations, first of all, and welcome to the NYSAC collective, the family of county officials from across the state. 5 weeks ago, NYSAC President Marty Sauerbrei and our Executive Director Stephen Aquario kicked off this 5 webinar series, and it's our pleasure as your association representatives to put a bow on this series and to put everything together for you. And I'm going to talk about NYSAC programs and services because one of the pillars, as we've talked about today, one of the pillars of our mission statement is to serve you and your colleagues across the state, and we provide programs and services to do that. NYSAC is your association, and we are only as strong as our collective of county leaders who participate in this association. So your attendance at this training and your attendance at our conference and your participation on a standing committee and your active participation in the things that we do as an association, that benefits all counties across the state. I just wanted to remind you of that and say thank you for that, because we're more effective as your staff when all of our counties and county leaders are participating in your association. We were created in 1925 by county officials just like yourselves, for county officials just like yourselves, to share information, to get trained on the new things that were happening in county government at that time in 1925. So you can imagine how our social systems and political systems and governmental systems were changing in 1925, and how they continue to change year in and year out. And so we're still doing what we were created to do almost 100 years ago. We're here to train you, to provide, to facilitate networking and the sharing of best practices. So whatever we can do to help you be the county leader that you want to be, please let us know. Call on us. Anybody that is participating in this webinar today, you can call me, Ryan, Tom, Jeanette, or anybody else on our staffs, and we'll do what we can to help you out. Our mission today, as we've already talked about, as Jeanette has mentioned, is to represent, educate, advocate for, and serve New York's counties. I'm going to talk about the programs and services we provide, but first I also wanted to cover the core values and behaviors that your staff operates on a day-to-day basis. The first is the integrity in our work. We believe in acting with integrity at all times. We embrace personal accountability, and we hold ourselves and each other responsible for making informed decisions and acting on behalf of our county officials, you all. Bipartisanship, we serve the individuals who were elected and sit in the seats at the county level across New York State. So it's Republicans, Democrats, independents, conservatives, whatever your political affiliation, we're here to serve you. Adaptability. When COVID hit 2 years ago, we adapted our association to be here for our counties virtually. We're very adaptable. Excellence, ethicals. We uphold ourselves to a high moral compass and adhere to standards of honesty and transparency. And finally, collaboration. We value teamwork internally as a staff and also teamwork with our county officials from across the state. So there's our mission and our values, and we serve those on a day-to-day basis. Now, our NYSAC programs and services. Thanks, Jeanette. Over the years, to stabilize dues, the NYSAC board has tasked our talented and dedicated staff members to develop programs and services that support your day-to-day work in county government and also support your association. So we do a diligent review process. We have partnered with select private companies to provide programs and services that offer unique solutions and benefits to counties. That's important. So these have unique programs, unique solutions for the problems that your county may face. These programs are vetted by us, and they generate revenue to NYSAC that offsets your county dues and helps us provide the extraordinary value that we believe we provide for you and members across the state. So we invite your county to consider these programs when going out to bid for insurance, workers' compensation, liquidity management, and procurement card solutions, and any other program or service that your county does an RFP for or is looking to procure. And if there's one that's not on here that you believe should be on here, contact me and we will go out and do a vetting process to find a good provider that can respond directly and uniquely to the county needs. So let's start with insurance programs. Your county provides property casualty insurance, workers' compensation insurance or coverage or benefits for your employees, and health insurance. So those are the three main insurance programs that your county provides. Some counties do this, are self-insured, so they don't pay a premium or procure the services of an insurance carrier or a health insurance broker. they may directly do that, be self-insured. But many counties do go out and procure property casualty insurance and workers' comp insurance for either the individual county or your county pool that includes municipalities within your county, or the health insurance. You may have a robust self-insured plan that includes provider network and a PBM, or you may just have one program that covers all of them. So many years ago, we were asked to, vet some programs, and so here they are. New York Municipal Insurance Reciprocal. Actually, we didn't vet this, we created it. We created this in 1993 with the Association of Towns and the Conference of Mayors. We started with 26 municipalities, including all of these towns in Fulton County and the Board of Supervisors in the whole county, and then a handful of others. And we have grown from that 26 membership to more than 940 municipalities, including 34 counties. So this is by far and large the largest property casualty insurer of local governments in New York State. Your county is probably a member of NYMER, and when I say a member of, because you are actually a subscriber and a member, this insurance company is governed by a 13-member board of governors that includes county officials, town officials, city, village officials from across New York. So, and the three associations actively participate in NYMER to make sure that the program, this insurance program, is very responsive to the needs of our membership. So we continue to grow each and every year. If your county is out or your town is out looking for a property and casualty insurance program, make sure you're looking at NYMER. Even if it's not the best fit for your county, inevitably it will drive down the cost of the carrier that will bid against NYMER. So that's the other thing. You don't have to use these programs and services, but when you go out to find a solution in one of these niches, then we have a good program. But if your county wants to go somewhere else, we can help by getting a quote from one of these programs. We can help drive down the costs of whatever solution it is that you end up picking. PERMA, the Public Employee Risk Management Association, provides workers' compensation programs tailored for 12 counties and hundreds of local governments, or 10 counties. But we also provide TPA services for a growing number of counties. So that's a recent evolution of PERMA. So we're in 10 counties or county pools providing those benefits for your employees, but we also provide TPA services for up to 4 counties now. Next slide, please. Thanks, Jeanette. And now healthcare. Healthcare is a behemoth, really hard to understand, really hard to get your hands around. It's really hard to have a one solution that covers all of the healthcare insurance needs for your counties. So we've kind of broken it up. We've been working with ProAct, which is an employee-owned pharmaceutical benefit company that was created in New York and still has its headquarters here in New York and most of its business here in New York. Well, while it has extended to other states, most of its business still is in New York. NYSAC partners with ProAct to offer more than 12 counties with PBM services. And I say with more than 12 counties is because one of the entities that NYSAC provides, or ProAct provides PBM services for, is a Tompkins County collective that includes now 3 different counties. So ProAct also provides county discount drug card, which is a card program that isn't as used as it used to be before the Affordable Care Act, when nearly everybody in New York now has prescription drug benefits through one avenue or another. But if one of your residents or constituents finds themselves without prescription drug insurance coverage, have them come onto our website or the ProAct website and download a discount drug card, because it will significantly reduce the cost of prescriptions for that individual. The MHFC, or the Municipal Healthcare Financing Collective. We're now in our third year. We have 3 counties and a number of different entities coming into this collective. And what it is it's an organization that we created with the Alera Group to provide a stop loss captive for the members of the collective. What's a stop loss captive? So if you're a self-insured county and you have high claims, right? Those high claims, if you were to pay them, they could be multi-million-dollar claims for one reason or another, and they were unplanned, so the county doesn't have the money to absorb those multi-million-dollar claims. They buy stop loss insurance, and the stop loss insurance provides the pays for those high cost claims, whether it's over 250,000 or over 500,000. A county, most self-insured counties have a stop loss insurance. This is a captive, which means that all the members of the collective buy a captive or participate in a captive. So the captives pays the high cost claims, and then if there's anything left in the captive after the year, the counties will share in the quote unquote dividend, or what's left in the captive after that year is over. It's a competitive rate. We work together. I participate in all these meetings. We work together to help lower the cost of for these healthcare claims for the individuals who are unfortunately facing these high cost claims. They're cancer or premature birth or other disease that requires a significant amount of prescription drugs to survive and to thrive healthy. So the MHFC, if your county is looking for a stop loss insurance solution, please consider joining us in the MHFC. A county dental network card program. Some counties use this for themselves, but most adapt it or endorse it. It's endorsed by nearly every county across the state. And what it is it's another card program, and the card provides the resident with lower fees for dental services. So an individual can purchase the card for $50 and receive lower cost cleanings and fillings and x-rays and root canals. And these are for individuals, Medicare individuals or seniors who don't have a dental insurance program. So your Office of Senior Services may be providing this card for the seniors that they serve. If they're not, they should be looking at it, and you can contact me if you want additional information. Continuing on, Jeanette, thank you. The NYSAC P-Card program. The NYSAC P-Card, administered by PFM-AM, is a special type of credit card that offers cost-free and secure mechanism that 11 counties are using to streamline and track their purchases and generate a rebate revenue. So this is, and counties are using this now to track ARPA funds payments, and they can be used for computer systems and cybersecurity, or they can be used for road salt or office supplies. And at the end of the year, and this fiscal year ends at the end of August, at the end of the fiscal year, a county will receive a rebate based on how much they use their P card. St. Lawrence County last year got a rebate of over $120,000. That's well more than a staff member. Actually, it's more than 2 staff members. So there are a number of counties who use this P card quite a lot, and they generate these non-dues or non-tax revenues through a rebate. Omnia Partners is a leading national government purchasing cooperative that we work with, that NYCOM works with, that the New York State School Boards Association works with. And if your county has passed a best value local law, then they can go to Omnia Partners and get services through Cone for elevator services, or Granger for services provided by Granger, or Office Max or Home Depot. And you can go and piggyback off a contract that another county has let, or another state has let, or another a county in another state has let. So you get those competitive rates that that another public entity negotiated with one of these providers, and the county can get best value and lower cost services through Omnia Partners. I'm going to wrap it up with these. Cash Vest by 3+1 is another New York-based company that provides a new level of liquidity analysis that produces evaluations and reports and knowledge that counties are using, 27 counties so far, to generate more value on the bank accounts that they have, and new revenue on the cash deposits that you have at various banks. And we're working with treasurers and comptrollers and administrators across the state, and this program is generating millions of dollars in extra interest revenue for counties since we have partnered with them 3 years ago. Nationwide Retirement Solutions, we have 10 counties who provide deferred compensation retirement program for the employees through the NRS, or Nationwide Retirement Solutions program. So that's it, Jeanette, and team and attendees for our programs and services. If you have any questions on any of these, please contact me. Again, if these don't work for you, there are other competitors in the marketplace that can provide solutions at a lower cost potentially, and we can help them drive those down. Yes, thank you. I wanted to end with this slide. So in addition to our specific programs and services, we also work with Excelsior partner programs, and these are companies that already work with New York State counties on an array of programs, and they support your association, NYSAC, because they believe in our mission and they know the work that we do benefits all of you. So these are also programs that either your county is working with or can consider working with on a range of programs and services. So thank you, Jeanette, and thank you, newly elected county leaders.
Thank you so much, Mark. I want to thank all of you for joining us today in the conclusion of our orientation for newly elected and appointed officials. Thank you, Mike Billard, for presenting on the importance of the clerk of county legislative boards. And thank you to my coworkers, Tom Oldfather, Ryan Gregoire, Mark Levine, and myself. And on behalf of the entire NYSAC staff, we thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to working with you in the future. Again, your email is what is very important to us. Just remember that if you want to join the NYSAC database list and you're newly elected, please contact Jackie Dietrich, or you can contact anyone on the NYSAC staff just by going to the website or just calling the office. We're a small association. You can just call us and say, I want to make sure I'm in the database. I'm a new county elected official. Right now, I am not seeing any questions, so I'm going to conclude the program. Once again, thank you to the generosity of our NYSAC Excelsior sponsors for underwriting this orientation series. And that concludes the webinar today. Thank you, and have a healthy and productive week.